For this build, you will need some 3D printed parts that I designed. You can find these on Printable in the description below, an Arduino Mega microcontroller, or a MobiFlight compatible board, 2 X20 stepper motors, and a way to get them to the board. In my case, I took the base stepper motor like this, soldered wires to the ends right here, and crimped some DuPont connectors onto the edge. You'll also need an acrylic circle like this. You can remove it, however, if you don't want it. And some M2 screws and nuts. I'm using 8, and I think they're 20 millimeters long. I used a shipping label to print this decal. Let's start off by assembling the bezel. It's super easy. It's just a piece of acrylic here, and then this piece right here as a spacer. We can set that to the side. And next up, you'll have these 2 pieces. This piece might print with 2 little notches right there if you want it to. If you don't want the 2 little notches, you can snip them off or print the other piece and you won't have them. Problem solved. The decals, I find the method that works best for me is to just hold them up to the light, align it up, and then stick it on. If you can, print with a high quality printer. One of my printers, for whatever reason, if you just scratch it lightly, it becomes all weathered. Maybe you want a weathered turn coordinator, but for me, usually they come out of the factory new. So we just lined them up. Now we can go to the back, use an X-Acto knife or a utility knife, and just cut out the edges and the middle. I'm using this RC car box I had in the recycling bin, and I prefer to use these because, well, that means you have an RC car somewhere in your house. Now you can see how these 2 line up. This one, you're all good to go with. You can add it to the pile. This one, you need to poke holes in, and then it's good. You can test the fit of this by putting the airplane through. It's a little bit fun to have. You can already see it coming together right here. And you'll see we have a functioning turn coordinator right here. This ball right here needs to be painted black, so you can either print this piece in all black like I've done in the past, or just Sharpie the dot. Alright, so now we have the last 3D printed piece. This is the stepper mount. It can be in whatever color you want. I like printing everything that doesn't need to be in black in white, so that if I want to backlight it, it bounces off and it works a little better. You can see some white filaments kind of like to glow. And if you ever need to backlight the instrument, you can interface some like LEDs or something through here. If you are going to backlight it, I'd also suggest these being printed in white, and that'll let you backlight these letters. Covinator included a version of this bezel that had some holes for LEDs, where you could put LEDs in and backlight the panel through there. So I might have to try those out because that would look really cool. We're going to have 2 stepper motors, stepper motor 1 and stepper motor 2. The top one, we'll say 1, goes through the hole, and then you just screw in some of your 20 millimeter screws right here. They should mount nicely onto the X27 stepper motors. I showed the process of wiring the X27 stepper motors to the DuPont connectors in the airspeed video. You can see it in this card right here. Now we can do the same thing with the second stepper motor. Put it into its hole, push through the mounting hardware, and then screw it on. So now we have both of these screwed in, and what you want to do is just gently take some pliers and find its limit. With this, we'll have more than enough travel. So turn it all the way left and then maybe turn it a little bit right. That'll just make sure you're not hitting the ends. All right, for this top one, you're gonna wanna find its all the way left position and then turn it right, like say 120 degrees or like 90 or so. It doesn't really matter too much as long as when you put this on, don't stab yourself. I have an injury from that. It can go all the way left and all the way right. Use extreme caution when using super glue because it's nasty stuff. It'll get you right when you don't expect it. I'm just kind of dabbing over a dot over the joint and then going on to the airplane. With the airplane, we want the same deal. Turn it all the way left, then maybe turn it like 120 degrees to the right so we find its rough center, and then put the airplane over it. Aha, there you are. With this one, you want to make sure this faceplate is on before you do anything, and then you can just put a drop onto the airplane. Make sure not to stick anything, and then place it down. Now we just let it dry. Let it dry, let it dry, let it shrivel up and dry. While it's drying, you can actually use these screws right here, put them through these holes, and then just have them go all the way through to the end. For M2 screws, you'll need 4 20mm screws and 4 16mm screws. You can always, of course, just buy all 20mm screws. Now is a great opportunity to use your remaining M2 screws and screw it in all the way through the panel. Now you can see the final product. I actually need to get longer screws because the 20mm ones just snagged by. They look a little too short. This one didn't even go all the way through. Shout out to Miller. Alright, now we have our turn coordinator, which is absolutely fantastic. Tune in to the next video where we'll show you the entire configuration and wiring so you can get this instrument talking to your flight simulator. Thank you so much to everyone who keeps this channel going and growing, including Altimeter Motives, Chris Patey, Covinator, PropWash Sim, Mr. Klotz, Stuart. There was one more. Oh yeah, thank you David, Chris, and Bromine. That was the most awkward outro ever.